Before he became a household name, before millions read his books or even heard his voice across the airwaves each week, he was broke, completely broke. And it wasn't just random bad luck, but poor financial decisions that nearly cost him everything. This is a story of Dave Ramsey and how his failures became the foundation of everything that he teaches today. But before we dive in, if you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And so with all that being said, here we go. David was born and raised in Maryville, Tennessee to parents who worked in the real estate industry, and after graduating from high school, he followed in their footsteps by earning his real estate license at just 18 years old, where he then began buying and selling properties while attending the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, where he would eventually earn his Bachelor of Science degree in finance and real estate. From there, Dave quickly grew into a young, ambitious man hungry for success. By his mid-20s, he had built a real estate portfolio worth over $4 million. And he wasn't just flipping houses, he was buying, selling, and building wealth through aggressive real estate deals. And to everyone around him, it looked like he had made it. And in many ways he had. Dave Ramsey had become a millionaire before the age of 30 years old. But there was a problem. His entire empire was built on banks and lenders he had borrowed money from. So even though he was a millionaire, Ramsey owed the banks more than $1 million. It was a system that worked, ethically and legally, just as long as everything stayed the same. But of course it didn't. You see, during the mid-1980s, banks began calling in their notes. And if you're not familiar with the term, it simply means when banks demand early repayments of a loan. And so in Dave's case, one by one, lenders demanded their money back. And Dave suddenly found himself trapped. He didn't have the cash to cover what he owed, and his properties weren't liquid enough to save him. And just like that, within a few years, everything collapsed. And Dave had to file for bankruptcy. He lost the homes, the wealth, the cars, and he nearly lost his family under the immense stress. And Dave even went on to say that it was the lowest point of his life, a moment of profound humiliation. And at one point he even admitted that he briefly wondered if his family might be better off without him because of his life insurance policy. But in the ashes of that failure, something changed. He realized that debt, the very thing that built his fortune, had also destroyed it. And from that realization, his mission was born. Dave began studying the Bible, where he found financial wisdom and practical principles for managing money, and before long he started teaching small groups on how to get out of debt, not through schemes or quick fixes, but through discipline and common sense. That small group eventually grew into what we now know as Financial Peace University. And so on June 29th, 1992, Dave launched The Money Game, a radio show that he initially hosted for free, and that program would eventually evolve into what we now know as the Dave Ramsey Show. His simple, no-nonsense rules like the debt snowball, paying with cash, and living below your means resonated with millions of struggling families. And today, Dave Ramsey is one of the most influential financial voices in America. He turned his greatest failure into a movement that has helped people from around the world break free from financial bondage. And now Dave's net worth is reportedly well over $55 million. I shared Dave's story because it reminds us of an important truth. The Bible isn't just about getting into heaven. It also gives us practical wisdom for how we should live our daily lives. Dave Ramsey often points to Proverbs chapter 22 verse 7. The borrower is a slave to the lender. And it's true. Debt of any kind becomes a weight that hangs over you until it's gone. And God wants for us to live in freedom, not bondage. And not only that, but the way we handle our money reflects who we truly serve. In Romans chapter 13 verse 8 it says, "Owe no one anything except to love one another." When we owe someone, we carry a responsibility before both God and that person to make it right. And lastly, money is something God has entrusted to us to manage. If we don't take responsibility for it, it will end up managing us, and we will be held accountable before God for how we used it. And the Bible illustrates this fact clearly in the parable of the master who entrusted money to three of his servants. Each was given something, and one day they were called to give an account for what they had done with it. And I'm not saying that everyone has to follow Dave's exact financial plan because it's not the gospel, but the message of getting out of debt and staying out of debt is built on true biblical principle, runs counter to what society tells us, because society is always pushing us towards more debt. Dave's story proves that failure doesn't have to be the end, and that if we stop doing things our own way and trust in God's way instead, it would not only transform our own lives, but also impact the lives of the people around us. And so if you like this video and channel, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, be blessed.